Hey, before we jump into this video, I wanted to show you guys an example of a stream that I do, dollar start auctions over on Whatnot. Every book that's on this table listed at $1 start, except for these three, ASM 252, ASM 301, and Secret Wars number 8. All three newsstands are actually gonna be given away this coming Saturday, January 25th. Use the link down below, enjoy a $15 credit you can use anywhere on the app. You can use it during my stream, but if you wanna get some Pop toys, some Pokemon cards, some Magic the Gathering cards, Whatnot has categories for all things geekdom. Whatnot is so much more than just a live selling platform where you can bid on comic books, buy exclusives, and chill with creators like Rob Liefeld, Tyler Kirkham, Marat Michaels, and so many more who use the app regularly. This is a great place for me to be able to interact with you. You know, I go live every single week for hours on end, and we have a great time chatting comics. You know, I do dollar starts and I try to bring the heat. I try to bring the deals. And this coming Saturday, January 25th, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm gonna be giving these 3 books away. I try to do a really big giveaway at least once a month, but every week we give away upwards of 30 plus comic books. Come join me, link in the description. Come and try us out. Use that credit, get a book for free, and then peace if you want. But I know you're gonna stick around because you're gonna enjoy it and you're gonna get some of the best deals in the industry. Now let's start the video. The hottest, trending, best-selling comic books in the world. We have 5 giveaways to announce. Let's just jump right into it. At the list at number 10 with Amazing Spider-Man 65. This is the Marvel Rivals variant. And we're seeing not 1, not 2, but 3 different variants actually hit the trending 20 from Key Collector Comics this week. $15 average sales on the Spidey cover, $35 raw, CGC 9.8 pre-selling at $120. I bought a Steam Deck over the last couple weeks. I've been playing Resident Evil 4 nonstop. I've been playing Marvel Rivals, and it makes sense to me. So many people are enjoying this game, using the various skins, playable characters that they're navigating to the comics to start collecting. This is mainstream interest in comics because of video games, and I love every second of it. You also have all new Venom number 2, which, by the way, we're going to find out who is underneath that Venom symbiote here pretty soon. I digress, because Magic number 1 is also on the list. Storm number 4. I mean, there were 5 different variants that came out for this, and they were open to order.
The mainstream video game community is absolutely driving demand for these books. I mean, when else do we see a $4 cover price book become $15 within just a few days? This is something that people are absolutely going crazy for. And if you are also a fan of Amazing Spider-Man, you should be excited for the new Joe Kelly run starting in April. Number 1 coming out, and a lot of people are looking forward to it. Us, ourselves, are looking forward to the Lee Bermejo and the Simone DeMeo variants. Those are a couple really hot variants for number 1 coming out in April.
We just named so many different comic books, could get confusing. Download Key Collector Comics to organize them all, to map out your spending, and to find out suggested pricing. Who's the writer? Who's the artist on a comic? How many variants are there for a particular issue? Key Collector does all the work for you, and it's free. But if you want to use a free 2-week subscription of the entire app, throw that code TOM101 in, and enjoy it and support the show. Number 9 on the list, Batman 423, a book that comes and goes on our list all the time. For 7 years, this has to be one of the most popular comic books since we've been on YouTube.
This is absolutely a perpetually relevant book. It's an awesome Batman cover. It's an incredible Todd McFarlane cover, so very well warranted. We're seeing a 120% increase in copies sold this week, $150 average sales. We're reporting $1,700 for a recent high CGC 9.8, but there was a sale just a couple weeks ago for $13.80. I mean, really, if you're patient, you can absolutely get this book for a much better deal, but some people just want to pull the trigger.
I pulled the numbers over the last 11 months, and there's been an increase of 42.98 on the census. So clearly the demand is there, but the supply is going up so high that I do not think you should be paying $1,700 for this book. Grab it closer to that $1,300, $1,400 marker, but there's not a whole lot going on for this book outside of it just being a fan favorite, much like, I don't know, Incredible Hulk 340, except there's someone who's killing it in the industry right now, doing homages like we haven't seen take off in recent years. And they've done it on not just Hulk 340, but they did it on this cover. We're talking Mark Spears. Could his 1 in 25 variant featuring Dracula be spiking this book up?
It would be tough for me to believe that it's not. I mean, at this point in time, Batman 423 is an amazing, iconic cover, and most people should know what it is and probably have it in their collection. But a lot of these people who are horror fans, people who are Mark Spears fans, may very well be introduced to the original of this cover. It's a 1 in 25 variant with Dracula in front of the moon, and it is already selling over $100 raw.
Okay, maybe it's not because of Mark Spears, sure. But then why is number 8 on the list Infinity Gauntlet number 1? George Perez cover, Jim Starlin story, one of the biggest books of the era. But Infinity Gauntlet spec is years old. Why would it be here today selling for $20 average sales, $200 for a CGC 9.8? Well, Mark Spears also did a cover, an homage of this very issue.
A very similar percentage, 119% increase for what I think we're going to have to dub the Mark Spears effect. These are books that, again, Infinity Gauntlet, it's not like anything is happening with Thanos that people are really needing to care about, right? But all of a sudden, this book that came out with a great homage done by Mark Spears with, again, Dracula on the cover doing Infinity Gauntlet could very well be driving this. Look at this stat. $173 average sales for the last 12 months, but the last 9.8 sale was $200. This book is very clearly going up in demand and price.
That's nuts. A variant cover that possibly may be spiking up the book, not just in how much is being purchased, for the amount that it's being purchased for. I haven't seen that level of impact from an artist in quite a while. Also, it probably doesn't hurt that we have Dracula on the cover when Nosferatu's coming out at the same time and is like breaking records and people love the movie. But I know that it goes way deeper than that. Mark Spears has impacted the comic industry. Let's see if we can find out just how much he has. No better example than the recent work he's been doing over at Dynamite. Let's actually hit up Nick Barucci, the owner and founder of Dynamite Comics, and see how Mark's impacted their business. How you doing, Nick?
Hey, Tom. Hey, Russ. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate you guys for doing this and love all the fans who are always a part of this. Thundercats Backer Kit campaign has been a barn burner. It's really taken off bigger and better than we ever could have hoped. When we wanted to reward the fans who backed it from the get-go and also encourage new fans, we talked to Mark Spears about the variations and limited editions to Thundercats 12 and 13 and giving it to all the fans for free, and he was 100% behind it. And the cumulative effect of the 40th anniversary, these 24 comics being collected for the first time, and then the added bonus of these awesome Mark Spears covers just kept building the hype and the excitement. And for the first time ever on any campaign, not just comics, any campaign, Backer Kit extended our campaign to January 30th. It's never happened before. We couldn't be more honored. And, you know, we thank our partners at Warner Brothers, the creative team who have been a part of this, Brett Breeding, Mike Carlin, some of the original creators and editors, also Declan Shalvey, who did a cover, and Mark Spears, who just added the cherry on top.
Wonderful, Nick. Thanks for that insight. Make sure to check out that Backer Kit because you got a little bit more time.
Thank you, guys, and thank you to all the fans who have supported us, and thanks to all the fans who support Tom on a regular basis. And you know what? I got to end it with something really important, Tom. I just got to say one thing. Everybody, geek responsibly. Enough said.
Let's jump back into the list at number 7 with Daredevil 131, the first appearance of Bullseye, seeing $250 average sales and $3,975 for a CGC 9.8. The difference between 1 point on this book is drastic. 9 sixes of First Bullseye have approached the $500 marker over the last 6 months, with multiple sales in the $700 marker. It has to be because of Daredevil Born Again in that most recent trailer. What'd you think?
I am so excited because Bullseye has always been one of my favorite Daredevil villains, and for him to be coming back in this show is fantastic. He was so drastically injured that I really didn't know whether they were going to try and make him a main villain again, and we know there's a couple other people that we'll be talking about on this list who are going to be bad guys, but Bullseye has always been one of the best.
March 4th, Daredevil Born Again. Are you hyped? Who else do you want to see reprise their role? This could be their opportunity to really shake things up on an app that's been in kind of decline for a lot of their shows for quite some time.
Yeah, go back to basics. What worked in the first place?
For anyone that's not sold on the return of Daredevil, keep in mind that after they decided to scrap everything that they had done, the people they brought on were the ones that directed Moon Knight and season 1 of Loki, 2 of the best Disney Plus shows. My hopes are high, and I'm expecting them to be fantastically met.
Number 6 on the list is Wildfire's #1. This is a very interesting book to see on the list because this happens from time to time. This book isn't spiking because of option status. It's not spiking because there's a first appearance of a character. It's seeing $4 average sales, 9.8s of $65. There's only 3 copies of this book on the census, but an increase of copies sold of 467% because the narrative is disturbingly similar to what is actually going on in the real world. And this happens sometimes. Like historically, we have covered multiple comic books that are spiking because they can be attributed to something similar that's happening that we're all experiencing. And the wildfires in California are absolutely impacting so many individuals within that state and around the world because of the chaos and just atrocities that are happening.
So we have some that happen every single year, like V for Vendetta when you've got the 5th of November, and you've got Spider-Man number 36 whenever we have the September 11th anniversary. But then we also have situational ones like Spectacular Spider-Man 176 when you have the villain called Corona.
We all know about these terrible wildfires impacting Southern California, and there's a creator that we all love that was evacuated from his home and who's actually actively doing something about it to provide some relief and some help. We have J. Scott Campbell, who's releasing Magic #1 this weekend from Saturday through the 22nd. All proceeds of both of these covers that they're going to be dropping on their website are going to the American Red Cross to provide relief for those who are impacted by these fires.
What an amazing way for the industry to show support. Make sure you go to jscottcampbell.com to be able to help out the residents of Southern California. While some people process grief through comic books, some can process positivity or good events, like this next one. Number 5 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 21. It's the marriage of Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson. I love this book. This is such a fun one. $15 average sales, and we are reporting a 9.8 range between $100 and $130. What we have to keep in mind is that there are 2 variants of this book. One is Friends and Foes, which happens to have Peter Parker out of his costume, and then you have the Villains and Heroes. The Villains and Heroes was the newsstand variant, and the other one was only available direct from comic book stores.
It's so crazy to think about like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. Tobey Maguire dated Kirsten Dunst secretly for like a year. Then you have like Andrew Garfield, who dated Emma Stone, who portrayed Gwen Stacy in those films. Something about these movies bring people together because over the last week, we actually got the announcement that Tom Holland proposed to Zendaya, which is causing an increase of copies sold of 178% on a book that I would bet is one of the top books to be purchased just straight up as a gift. This is the book that you get your friends if you want to get them a comic book to celebrate their anniversary or their wedding.
I think this is a very, very fun wedding gift and kind of a way to show your geekdom as well as something that is, you know, a great way to commemorate something beautiful.
And now we're at number 4 with Daredevil number 11 from 2016. We're getting the first appearance of the Muse popping up on the list because he is indeed going to be one of the villains in Daredevil Born Again. $50 average sales, $250 for a CGC 9.8. This is a disturbing villain, a grotesque villain. He uses the body parts and blood to make his art.
A 400% increase in copies sold this week. Banksy meets Dexter. This dude looks wiry and skinny. I love the design, and as can be shown in this trailer, he can absolutely take a punch.
It's so hard to believe already that they're going to be bringing in any level of similarity to the Netflix era to Disney Plus. So violent, you know, bones breaking, blood shooting out. Like Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin decapitates somebody during the Netflix era. So if they even bring that over to Disney Plus in the slightest, it's kind of wild. And then they prove that they're going to go to the distance by bringing in one of the most violent villains in Daredevil lore.
The Daredevil fight scenes were absolutely legend. It was like water cooler talk. Every single time someone would watch the single camera shot Daredevil fight scenes from Netflix, we were all talking about them. So I was a little scared when I heard about them going to Disney Plus, but the fact that we have the directors that are going to be working on Moon Knight and the first season of Loki doing this show, I'm very excited. I expect them to have some incredible fight scenes again.
We also had Daredevil Unleash Hell come out, a red band, violent, mature comic book that features the Muse of Muse, a new character that is a female version of this villain. And you probably just purchased it if you haven't read it because you kept it in the poly bag. I want to make sure you know you have what could be minor key on your hands.
From one long-term spec into another, number 3 on the list, Spectacular Spider-Man number 9, which is the first appearance of White Tiger in a standard comic book magazine. He is the first Marvel superhero of Hispanic descent. We're reporting $45 average sales and a high 9.6 recent sale for $125. We have not seen a 9.8 sell since mid-August. That went for $375 when he was back on the trending 10, again, mid-August of last year. White Tiger, we have talked about being in the Daredevil show, and there were so many delays, so many things happening, it just wasn't going to get released on time. A 400% increase in copies sold this week because we saw him in the trailer.
It's so unfortunate because the actor who portrays White Tiger, Camar de los Reyes, actually passed away in 2023 in December of an illness. And he's not going to be able to see his portrayal on the big screen. And as someone who's Puerto Rican, I've always had love for this character, the vigilante, the White Tiger. And fortunately, White Tiger is a mantle that can be passed down. The amulet actually provides the power. So I'm interested to see how Daredevil handles it. It's a little supernatural stuff, so they may not, but it'd be a shame to see this character come and go.
White Tiger trailer news causing a 400% increase in copies sold this week.
Get your Daredevil ready. Also, get your Star Wars ready. Number 2 on the list, Star Wars Adventures number 16 from 2018. This was the era that IDW was, producing Star Wars comic books, and we're seeing $15 average sales, $200 for a CGC 9.8, and an increase of 500% in copies sold week over week, because this is the first appearance of Embo. You know him from the Clone Wars. He's the dude who's got that hat, Mortal Kombat Raiden style, who uses as a shield and as a weapon. And he first appeared in this kid's book, and he is being slated, potentially, as the villain in the Mando movie that isn't going to be coming out until May 2026.
This is from a period that I think a lot of our really diehard Star Wars fans weren't even buying these books, because Marvel had announced that pretty much anything that they were releasing was canon and anything else was not. So a lot of these IDW books were overlooked. They were kids' books. They weren't necessarily referred to as canon. And the people that really, really wanted them, they might have bought them because they were a fan of like the Clone Wars animated series, but you weren't seeing a lot of my subscribers. We would sell 25 copies of the regular Star Wars run and maybe 4 or 5 of these IDW books. So the print run's going to be low, which is why it makes sense why we're seeing so much demand for this book this week.
Keep an eye out for cover B of this very issue, because although both are his first appearance, he actually appears on cover of cover B, and I think that's the one to get. If you're specking Star Wars, I'm a Trekkie, I don't know, you tell me in the comment section below. Also, if you like what we do, you want to support the show, I'll send you comics every single month. And I had to team up with Mark Spears at some point. We have a Mum-Ra variant of the Thundercats 12th issue that's gone nuts, going out 1 per box, limited to 900. I have under 200 boxes left for the community. So hit comictom.com, join the community, and let's talk about the number 1 most trending book in the world. And it's a Dr. Doom cover.
Absolutely mind-blowing that 2 weeks in a row we have a Fantastic Four book at the top of this list and has nothing to do with the upcoming Fantastic Four movie.
True.
Number 1 on this list, Fantastic Four number 247. First appearance of Christophe Bernard, the adopted son of Dr. Doom and the biological son of Nathan Richards.
$12 average sales, $180 for a CGC 9.8. The last time a 9.8 sold, it went for like $100, and it's all because of One World Under Doom. The next Marvel event where Dr. Doom is going to be ruling the world as Emperor and Sorcerer Supreme.
We found out through solicitations this week that Christoph, Dr. Doom's adopted son and, again, half-brother of Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four. Seriously, this is a character that I think nobody's been talking about. He is going to be assembling a team that should be superior to the Avengers, nay, a team called the Superior Avengers. And we're planning on having Abomination, Doc Ock, Ghost, Killmonger, Malekith, and Onslaught, some major baddies, gonna come and fight a whole lot of nasty stuff going on in this crossover event.
One World Under Doom #1 drops February 12th, and this is definitely an interesting take on the character because it doesn't seem like we're going to get a lot of ramp-up period. This is like 6 months after Dr. Doom acquires the Sorcerer Supreme title, and he's going to be ruling the world. So we don't have to wait to find out what he's going to do and a lead up to it. No, he's just going to be in control doing some crazy stuff. And some of the things that he's talked about already having accomplished is like getting rid of the Nazis and offering universal health care. Like there's going to be some really like positive things that he's going to do. One World Under Latveria, but also, you know, as kind of like a more dictator type of villain, there's going to have to be some problems that are going to come along with him ruling. And I'm very excited about this event. And I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you going to be reading this? What Dr. Doom covers are you securing right now? Because every time I acquire a Dr. Doom cover in a collection, I'm putting it aside. I have to look it up. I have to look it up again because Dr. Doom covers keep spiking nonstop.
I think everyone needs to buy the full run of Supervillain Team Up. Those are some of the craziest classic Dr. Doom covers with some great villains in it. And they're all super undervalued.
And of course, as always,
geek responsibly.
Enough said. Thanks so much for watching the video. We're doing these giveaways nonstop. It's awesome. All you have to do is join the SMS group. That's our way to like communicate with you if you won. You also keep up on all the stuff we're doing. So if your numbers are as followed, because we have people who listen to us on Spotify only, ending in 7687, 7578, 3966, and 3704. Check your SMS, because if we contacted you, we need your address, and we're going to send you a first appearance of Lobo.
And also, if your name happens to be Brian Donnelly, hey, you may have already won. Check your text messages from comictom.com.
We just did 5 giveaways. Let's do 5 more. First appearance of Lobo and Omega Men #3. We're just going to keep it going with a Virgin variant by former God of War art director, then Netflix art director, and now just like doing other crazy stuff, Raph Bracetti. Thanks so much for watching our videos. We'll see you soon.